I will be doing a talk show with a young South African man of 24 years old. This young man has established or created his own business. This is an educational channel whereby we support and listen to the story or hear to the story of any young South African person who has created his own business and how he's taking advantage of existing technologies to make money. The objective of this channel is to listen to hear to your story. Your story will encourage, motivate thousands or millions of other young South Africans to create businesses. I want all of you young people who are watching this video to call me, to contact me. You must talk about your business. Your story will motivate others. You must tell me how you use existing technologies within your business to make money. We want to maintain and sustain our economy. You, as a young people, you have your own work to do. We, as a young people, we also have own work to do. You, senior South Africans who have already businesses well established, call me. Tell me about your story. Tell me how you've started with your business. You will support, motivate thousands of young South Africans so that our economy can be stronger, stronger, and stronger. Thank you, sir.
How's it, friends? So I've been very lucky to have a sit down with Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve is doing a lot of wonderful things within the business environment, especially informatics. A lot of the work that he does, especially like an interview like this, is free of charge, and a lot of time and labor goes into it. So if I were you, give it a follow. The link will be down below, and keep watching. Maybe you find something that resonates with you, and hopefully you can find some wisdom within it.
Okay. Morning. Thank you, Ashley. So happy to have you today. I want you today to talk to the young people who are watching us right now about your story.
Sure.
How you started your business.
Okay.
Your story will motivate millions of young people like you. Okay? So, introduce yourself a bit.
Okay.
Look at our camera.
Sure.
Let's start.
Cool. Well, firstly, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ashley. I'm 24 years old. How I came about the business is since I was young, around 18, 19. Look, I actually think the context comes previously from growing up in school and all that type of stuff. I was not really into academic. I was actually a sports person. I really wanted to become an international football player at a stage, or cricketer, or whatever I could make it in. And I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. So finished high school and started sales, started many different industries. And fast forward 3-4 years later, I just knew that I wanted to work for myself. However, I didn't know which industry to go into. Before that, I had started my own marketing agency and just exploring on what I enjoyed. Eventually got to the point where I started to notice the cannabis industry start to take off. There was obviously the decriminalization of it, and I ended up studying supply chain management. So in that sector of wanting to leave, I saw a business opportunity, and I had no clue how to go about it. I just knew that this is, if I could compare it to the tech boom. So I thought, let me at least just start applying myself and finding out ways to tackle the market, the industry. So I started reaching out to like-minded people, figured out a little bit about the industry, and a lot of people were interested in the industry. You know, if you look at the statistics of it now, a lot more people are getting involved. And for me to get funding for the company was very easy. We didn't get like millions of rands or whatever the case may be. If you have a look at our setup, it's very minimalistic. And I got money approved basically by a loan within a week, and started scouting for properties and et cetera. After going through 3 or 4 of them, we found a place that we were in now, Tiger Waterfront, and we've been open about a year now. Obviously, there's battles and faces that you face and whatnot, but there's been growth. We've had a very good customer base and a very supportive customer base at the current stage.
Very good, very good. I really appreciate that. Now, you tell me, do you use any existing technologies to market? How do you take advantage of that?
I love that question. So I never used to be a geek in the technical world or whatever the case would be, but I figured out, obviously the technology is important. You can't miss that. So I took a bit of things I learned out of other sales agencies and stuff that I work for, and now what I use is, in terms of marketing, I use a lot of AI.
Correct.
I use a lot of my marketing is actually done by email marketing instead of social media marketing. There's obviously a lot of different questions as to why, but for me, the reason why I went through that is because obviously you look at the numbers involved. When you get an email, you are going to click on it, what is spam and all. That's the predominant way. I've got a setup that was set up for me. It's an iPad, but it's also interlinked with our website. So I also did the website that we currently have completely by myself. The inventory and everything also automatically updates. If you sell or you got more, whatever the case may be. Everything's also automatic numbers. So if you see the sales, the receipts, all the finance there of the books, it's all automated and very easy to work with. Instead of having like 5 employees, it takes care of a lot of the marketing as well as the back end front of things.
Do you use any social media also to market your business? Tell us which social media you use.
Yeah, so we predominantly use Instagram.
Correct.
Just because I think the demographic suits it better.
Correct.
And we were using it in the beginning. However, the marketing strategy has now changed into a different area. So we're trying to penetrate the market, not just in what we are in, but I've been a musician for a long time. I know a lot of different musicians, producers, DJs. So we're going to use that as the marketing platform in Instagram with certain life stories, pop-up markets if you do it that way. Just because I did a lot of research in terms of the marketing done on Instagram, and for the amount of effort you put into it, for me at least, I don't see that much value out of it right now. But we definitely look to do it in the future.
Good. You tell me different challenges that you've encountered since you've opened this business?
Sure. So I'm the sole proprietor basically. So everything you see is basically just run by myself for now. Reason being is just to cut a lot of costs and also a lot of headaches. Sometimes you never really know who you're working with until you get to the last minute and something goes wrong. And there's a lot of the problems that you face is it's unforeseen problems in the sense you think there is, let's say, a supply issue or a sales issue, but it's actually, for me, it's been reversed. We had a lot of clientele pitching up before we even opened for I'd say about 3 months to be able to service and provide for the customer base was a little bit difficult, especially when you don't have a lot of funding, especially when you don't have millions of rands of capital expenditure, so that was, and also trying to budget along those lines. You go through after December to January, March, obviously there's a drop in sales, etc., etc. So I would say seasonal difficulties. That's what I found.
Okay. In terms of regulations around reasonable people, we are scared of doing such type of business with police and rules and law and so on. How did you go about it?
It's very traditional. That was the biggest forefront. Is obviously you don't want to step on anyone's toes. Like I said to you in the beginning, I spoke to a lot of people already in the industry just to find out, because it was very grey, and I think now it's still very grey. So you still tread on eggshells from here to there. But how I did it was I just got the most information from people who are active in the industry. I'm fortunate enough to know quite a few people in the industry with experience, and they were willing to give me a little bit of information on how to help me. That helped in front, right, until I actually opened up about a day before, coincidentally, before it was completely legalized. And that kind of changed everything. So from there, I started finding suppliers that actually give you legal cover. And that's how we work now at the moment. So there's a lot of information included that I don't think is very necessary, but you go to them and they work with attorneys and hiring people to find ways to make it safe to consume and etc. etc.
Correct. So now, how will you take time? You will be standing there in front of the camera you'll be talking to young people like you. I want you to motivate them, because some people do say that, okay, we don't have money yet, how am I going to open a business? Some people be saying that, okay, I'm not good enough to open a business,
Sure.
and so on. Remember, as South Africans, we have homework to do.
100%, I agree.
We have to support our country. We have to support our economy. And if, as a young people, we are not going to fight
100%.
for our economy, nobody will help us.
100%.
You get that?
I agree with you completely. Someone actually told me when I got into business, you know, when I opened it up and it felt like, you know, the breakthrough of my life is just, as soon as you step into the building, now you have to start working and you have to start grafting. Someone told me, they came to a point where it felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm friends with a lot of businessmen within the area, and one guy laughed and he said, listen, but none of us know what we're doing at this current stage, you know? And I find that kind of inspiring, because there's a lot of South Africans, a lot of people feel that way, you know? A lot of people feel like you're not good enough, you don't have what it takes, etc., etc. And in my personal experience, that's just labels. You know, people project what they feel on you. And what I would say is, don't let what people label you define who you think you are.
Correct.
If you know you've got a strength, you know if there's an idea that you think stupid, and most of the time a lot of people are going to give you doubt. They're going to question you about it because it's your vision at the end of the day.
Correct.
If everyone had that vision, you wouldn't be able to make a business opportunity out of it. So what I would say then, as you said, is homework. I would say never keep learning. Never stop learning.
Correct.
Never stop learning, never stop wanting more, and never get content with what you have.
Correct.
I've opened this company. I can tell you this is not where I see myself. I see myself in 5 years owning property, a different company. And as you said, it takes homework. When I'm not working in the stores, you know, I'm researching. I'm researching about my current industry, the changes in the industry, the changes in the economy, changes in the world economy. You know, it all has a factor to play. And you know, realistically, in the way I can see it, the university doesn't teach you that. You know, and when you step into the real world, things get difficult.
Correct.
And one thing I would say to help me is learn how to work with people. You know, learn how to take criticism, because you can't learn without that. You can't get better. You know, instead of taking that personally.
I really appreciate that.